Today we're going to be talking about getting stronger, running the ball and becoming a better centre. Welcome to episode 6 of Run It Straight. Chris? First question today comes to us via Instagram, anonymous. What do? I'm a halfback playing under 13s, but I'm a bit scared to run the ball because I'm small. Chris?
What I would say is work on your speed and agility. If you are a lot more agile, it becomes harder to tackle you. So instead of someone being able to put a nice shot on you, they might grab your jersey and bring you down to the ground. So that's the first recommendation. Second one,
get less small. Put on a little bit of size, get a little bit stronger so that you are able to bust the tackle. That would be point number 2. Point number 3, when you're running, run at gaps, don't run at people. That's a pretty simple thing, but even to you're at under 13s, there's still people at that age who just get the ball and they just run as hard as they can. Now, if you're playing in the halves and if you're small, like you've said that you are, take people to the line with you. That's probably the biggest thing. Obviously, if you're a small bloke and you're worried about getting clobbered by two or three of these big guys just coming in and putting a shot on you, if you run to the line, if you've got someone on your outside, you've got someone on your inside, and you're running at 3 guys, those 3 guys are going to have to split. One's going to cover your outside man, one's going to cover the inside. And so then you've got a one-on-one with whoever it is. And if you've been working on your speed and your agility, like we said, or if you've been getting a little bit stronger, maybe you can beat him with footwork or with speed or with a combination of those and a little bit of strength. So take options with you to the line. Don't just try and run. Oftentimes, if you look at halfbacks in the NRL, whenever they make a line break, going back to JT or whoever it is very rarely will they run at the line on their own. They don't do that because they're going to get smashed. It's when there's a lot of bodies in motion. They've got people, they've got a fullback sweeping out the back. They've got a centre a little bit closer in, then right up close, they've got a back rower. And that's when they go to the line, they throw a dummy and everyone's watching all the other bodies in motion. And your size actually makes it easier for you to nip through because you're small. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else?
Last thing, I do touch on this a fair bit, but if you're not confident enough to run the ball, do it more. So the more that you run the ball, the less scared you will be of running the ball. Just because you're small doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't run the ball, because it is a key component of a halfback's position. Yeah,
you're going to have to learn to do that. You're going to have to build some confidence in this area. And I think we talked last episode about ways to go about building confidence. So maybe go back to episode, 5? Yes. Go back and have a look. We talked about how to gain confidence. So that's something that you need to do. But look, like he said, you need to do it more. You need to do it at training. You may probably need to do some contact work at training. Even if you go and you do something outside of rugby league, which does have a physical aspect to it, something like it's pretty common these days. A lot of kids getting involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu just so they can learn what it feels like to get grabbed and to get pinned and to just get comfortable being uncomfortable, I guess. All right, cool. All right, next question. Again, anonymous via Instagram. What's more important, getting stronger or getting more powerful? I train at a gym and I want to know what's more important so I can focus on that.
Both are important, but it depends on your training history, what you've done up until the point of until now. So basically, you do need to do both. If you haven't done a strength phase, you can't really do a power phase. But it is quite important to be powerful, to relate the power that you have in the gym onto the field.
Yeah, it's no good getting really strong in, say, a bench press where you're moving at this speed, which is oftentimes what people do when they're doing like a 1 rep max or something like that. That's not going to translate. Well, it's definitely going to translate to the field, but we have guys who come in, we test their power output with a seated med ball throw, and let's say someone throws, like I think we had Joey, and he threw sort of, I think it was 4 meters 30 with a med ball. Is it 5 kilo we use?
5 kilo.
A 5 kilo med ball, something around that anyway. And his bench press, we improved his bench press from, I think it might have been 92 to 102. So that wasn't a massive improvement. But then we spent a tremendous amount of time on power movements. So look, it could be something as simple as explosive push-ups. It can be, we could be doing a complex where you do a bench press into a med ball throw, whether it's a seated med ball throw or a supine lying on your back where you throw it up. You have another guy that you're training with catch it, pass it back to you. It could be bench press throws. Do not experiment with a bench press throw unless you've got someone who knows what they're doing with you. That means a proper S&C coach. But we spent a fair amount of time on that, and he added nearly a metre in, it was probably, I think it was 2 programs. It might have been about 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. And he had a massive increase in his power output, and we then saw that with his playing as well. He was a lot harder to tackle people coming in up top. He was able to push them out of the way. So sometimes there's room where when someone gets to a certain amount of strength, yes, you need to go and you need to focus on power. You haven't really told us those sort of details in the question, which makes it harder for us to do. But generally, whenever we have someone come in and see us, we use a linear progression model, say over an off-season. They come in first. The first program is what you call a general prep phase or a structural balance phase, where we work on correcting imbalances. We then move on to a hypertrophy phase. We're looking to add on some size. We then move on to a strength phase, and then we finish off with a power phase leading into the season. And then depending on where they're at, there could be different aspects we're working on through the season. But that's generally the order that we work on when we bring anyone new in. So I would ask you, where are you in that cycle? Have you done your general prep? Have you evened out imbalances between the left and the right side of the body, between the front and the back of the body, quads, hamstrings, chest, mid, back, that sort of thing? Have you done your hypertrophy phase, which gets you ready? It gets the muscles, it gets the tendons, everything ready for the heavier loads. And then those heavier loads allow you to have something to be powerful with. So it all depends, which is kind of the answer we have to a lot of the questions. Anything else you want to add?
If you're going to attempt any of the exercises that we mentioned with power exercises, just be aware that there are certain rest periods, there are certain ways that you need to do these exercises. There's a certain order as well. So don't try this without further research, or maybe just go and see someone that can write you a proper program for it.
Yeah, because power stuff, it's a lot of guys you see in the gym, I'm working on power, bro, I'm working on power, and you're like, all it ends up being is it's a fitness workout. So they might do med ball throws, but they'll do like 30 of them. And then they'll run over and they'll do some push-ups, and then they'll come back and they'll do some battle rope stuff, and then they'll come back and they'll do it again. And it's you're training you're training nervous system adaptation. So you need to have adequate rest. So 3 minutes really is the minimum between efforts on that same body. So maybe you're doing something else in your rest period, but you really do need to have 3 minutes. If you're going to do, say, a bench throw or a med ball throw or whatever it is, you got to have 3 minutes before you come back and you train that body part again. So you got to let the nervous system, like 3 to 5 minutes, but 3 minutes will do. Cool. All right, next question comes to us via Instagram from Lockie. Hey guys, just wondering what you think are key features a centre should have. I'm 6'2", 90 kilograms, pretty quick, but still have a long way to go. 6'2", 90 kilos. It's actually a pretty good frame.
Yeah,
you haven't included your age, which would have been interesting. Key features. We talked a bit about this one in the last episode again, didn't we? Remember? Was it last episode?
Might not be centre. I did ramble on about centre a little bit, but
yeah. All right, you want to have a go?
Yeah. So there might be a bit of crossover from last episode, but basically, game awareness is very important. So if you've done all of the strength, power, agility side of it, then another key feature for centres is game awareness. So being able to understand what's unfolding in front of you, but making the right decisions. So whether it's in defense or attack. So I mean, one of the key things for attack, if you can put a little, left foot or right foot step and get outside your opposite center, little palm and flick the ball to your winger, that's a game awareness. So that only works in certain times. You shouldn't do that every single time, for example. And then running the correct lines as well. So if we're talking about attack, you need to make sure you are running the correct line at the correct time. So you might do an unders line because the gap opens up on the inside, but if a gap's on the outside, then really you should have run an overs line to create that overlap. And then if you're talking about defense for centers, you're almost the last line of defense. So between you and the winger, you have to make the right decision. Yeah. You need to react at the same time as your inside man. So if your inside man rushes up, you need to go up with him. If they hang back, you need to hang back.
You need to be communicating well with your winger on that one too. That's really important. You got to communicate with your winger. So again, well, with the guy, look, it's the same in defence anywhere. It's just that, like he was saying, it is the last line of defence because the line runs out. So if you're defending anywhere in the line, you always need to push up and you need to push across with your guy on the inside who's closest to the ball. So he moves, you have to move with him, and then you've got to have faith in the guy outside you to continue to move so that the whole line moves. And like he was saying at centre, if they have got an overlap, you're going to have to jam up and in, and your winger will react to you, he'll jam up and in. At least if they're going to still pull off the play, they're going to have to throw a long cutout ball. The winger's going to have to be in the perfect position. He's going to have to not be offside in front of the passer. He's going to have to actually catch it and then go over and score. The fullback might have time to get across. So jam in, bring your winger in with you. Now, some of the things that we mentioned last time, that you already mentioned if you're going to be stepping in or stepping out. Work on your agility, develop a step, develop your ability to run lines, overs lines, unders lines, straight, develop your offload. These days, a lot of centres do prefer to have a left side or a right side. Get good at both. You don't know what situation you're going to be. You could change clubs, you could make reps, it could be at school, and you could be stuck on the other side, and you don't want to just have only a good right-hand offload. Work on your offload on both sides. Work on being able to draw your centre in, and if you can get outside that centre, so that you can pull the centre and the winger in to, like Chris said, to open up space on the outside. I think that's pretty much it. That's most of the things that we covered from last time. So look, again, this is the centre thing. Get all of your bases covered initially. Get to the strength levels that you need to be. Get your fitness where it needs to be. Get your change of direction and agility as good as it can be. Improve your speed and acceleration. Then work on your game awareness, where you need to be and when you need to apply all those different particular skill sets. Work on your palm, work on your offload, work on your line running. Your defensive reads. A lot of that's going to have to be practiced. Open your damn mouth and communicate. We go and we watch all the boys that are in our program. We go and we get out and we watch them every week. And one of the biggest things I say to everyone is open your damn mouth. It's like they're in a library. You get them in the gym, they won't shut up. You get out on the field, everyone's mouth is closed. And oftentimes, defensive errors, it's not that something's broken down in technique and it's a missed tackle. It's just mismanagement of where your players are allocated. Open your mouth and talk. Attack or defense, open your mouth and talk. Cool? All right, that is going to do us for today, guys. If you have any questions, please send them in. It seems Instagram's the way to go, but I don't mind. Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to send them in. Send in your questions, Instagram, Facebook. Put anonymous if you don't want us to know, if you don't want your name to be out there. Please give us as much detail as possible. The more detail you get with your question, I don't care if it's a paragraph or 2 paragraphs, just give, because then we can get really, really specific with how to go about helping you. Cheers.